Yep, my name's Bob Morse and I'm the project manager for Platform One Friends Community Group. Today I'm here to just say a few words, except I don't know a few words, to do some words about the week that it is, and it's loneliness this week. The feature this week is loneliness. It's a thing that's dear to a lot of people's hearts. And it affects so many. So if you just bear with me, there are certain things that I want to say, and I've got some notes here because my memory keeps losing things. Right, so what is loneliness? Let's just think a little bit about what it is. Well, I think the first thing we have to do is ask somebody who says they are lonely. Ask them what loneliness is. What you'll find is it's different things for different people. A lot of it is about not talking to other people. It's about not talking to people. It's about not seeing people. It's about not being in contact. It's about when nobody calls to see you, when one day is pretty much like the next day. It's a feeling of emptiness. It's a feeling of there's nothing inside you. It's a feeling of being loved, and it's a feeling of feeling isolated. So who suffers from it? Well, the obvious answer is we can say that people that live on their own suffer from it, probably. Not everybody, but that's where it will certainly be in predominance. People that are separated from people that they love or people that love them. So that's people that don't actually live with the people that they used to do, people that live in another part of the country, people who've encountered a loss. So it's people that have lost their loved ones, lost a loved one, and that is life-changing. It's also about people who can suffer are people that don't have the words or the language to express how they feel. So sometimes it's just a case of people don't know how to ask other people for help. They don't know how to reach out, and they don't understand the language or the way to ask it. This can affect all sorts of people. Other people that are affected, disabled people, are often affected. People who feel different, and that's quite a common thing. I feel different, so I feel different, so therefore I should act different. People who are victims, people that things have happened to, things have happened to them. Life has thrown up some circumstances, and it can be all manner of things: domestic abuse, physical abuse, victims of crime, forced marriage, or even slavery, modern slavery. Other people are carers. Sometimes people are caring for somebody else. They're unpaid, and they're also highly invisible as well. They're unpaid, looking after somebody, probably without recognition, sometimes without recognition. And that can lead to isolation, and it can lead to loneliness. I think it's obvious to sort of say that elderly people might be prone to loneliness, particularly people who live on their own. People who are poorly, people who are not so well, people who are not feeling so good. And that also applies to mental health. More on that later. People who are without work, so people that have retired or people that can't find a job. So let's just think about how this loneliness makes you feel, because there are certain consequences to it. There are feelings of this is not a complete list, and nor is it a list of things that apply to everybody, but sometimes it's worthlessness, a feeling of worthlessness. I'm not worth anything. A feeling of not being of consequence. What I say, what I do is of no input. Sometimes it's a feel of guilt. You know, I'm lonely and isolated because of things that I've done, and I deserve it. I've done wrong, so therefore, it's the guilt thing. The difference, feeling different. I feel different because, and that could be any number of one things. Feeling of incomplete. Something's missing. Something's not there. That goes on to lead to other things like hopelessness, not feeling like they can do anything, trapped in it. Also a feeling of not worthy of support. I'm not worthy of supporting with this. Who am I? I'm just me. And it also manifests itself. People can be unable or find difficulty in showing affection. It also leads or can lead to being frightened, having a frightened disposition, frightened of taking chances, and uncertainty. So what are the consequences? Well, I think I've touched on one earlier on. Mental health is a huge thing. Loneliness and mental health it can be absolutely devastating. It compounds it causes all sorts of issues. The two biggest are, of course, depression and anxiety. And these are insidious things. They creep up on you. You don't see them coming, but they come. And I would know because I've been a sufferer for many years. I'll come back to some remedies in a moment. Other consequences can be lack of self-esteem, physical things like sleeplessness, not being able to sleep, or sleeping too much, sleeping at the wrong time, lack of motivation, things like lack of sex drive, eating disorders, eating too much or not eating enough, or anorexia, bulimia, alcohol and drug abuse. These are things that can really catch up on you, and they're okay. It's all right to take alcohol. It's legal, and it's highly promoted as a social thing. And people say, "Oh yeah, end of day, end of week, weekend celebration. Let's do some alcohol." However, it can creep up on people, and people don't always realise that the consumption's leading to issues that they actually will find difficult to deal with. Things like addiction, things like physical dependency. And nobody sets out to be an addict. Nobody sets out to be physically dependent. But it does happen to a lot of people. And it's one of those things, it creeps up. Other things that can come out of this, antisocial behaviour, self-harm, and even suicide. So this loneliness, it's not what it's cracked up to be. If we had a law to ban it, then we should. So just at this moment of time, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, the person that's seen this. And I think you know who you are. You'll know if you're suffering from loneliness. And I think, first of all, what we need to do is we need to think about what you can do, what is feasible, and what isn't. And I would say, first of all, if you've got the loneliness bugging you, saying it's your friend, and you've formed an addiction, you think it helps you, but I'm telling you, it doesn't. And the thing is that if you're going to have a life, if you're going to have any quality of life, you have to remember certain things. First of all, you've got to get rid of your false friends. Now, who are your false friends, you might say? Well, if you're in addiction, then you've got a few false friends. The false friends that you do your addiction with, people that you go to the pub with, people that you do the crack with, and the rest. But you seek them out, and they seek you out. But they're not the friends. They're not your friends. What they are people that are doing exactly what you're doing, but they're not the friends. So the people that are your friends are not just people, The things that are not your friend, the booze is not your friend, the drugs, the overeating, the undereating, the self-neglect, the injuring of yourself. Your enemies are people like, well, not people, but things like the bed that doesn't want to give you up on a morning and wants you to stay with it all day long. It's the house that you live in that doesn't want to let you go, wants to keep you there all day. It's the fridge which stands there in the room and it's asking and begging to be eaten. Come and eat all my contents. And it's addiction. If you're addicted, or you fear you might be addicted, you've got to take some action. You can't just expect it's going to disappear. And believe you me, the addiction will end up with you being a very lonely person. The people that say that you're friends in addiction, you will find are not your friends. When you cease to be an addict, or they cease to be an addict, you'll probably never see those people again. So, tactics. You've got to do certain things. It's not a magic recipe. Things like avoiding the triggers. So just don't go to the pub. Don't hang about with the drug dealers. Don't hang about with the friends who were codependent with you. People that were doing the drugs with you. People that were drinking with you. Stay away from those places. Stay away from those people. Avoid the dealers. And if it's a drink issue, just try and moderate it. Don't let it get to a point where it's taking control of you. You control it. Moderate it. Don't let it win. And also, don't be frightened of getting professional help. It's not a failure to say, I have an addiction. Your GP has heard this story so many times. Over the years, thousands and thousands of people have gone into doctors' surgeries and asked for help. I've got a drink problem, help. The doctor won't think any less of you, nor will he or she be surprised, because it is very, very common. Seek help. The thing is, there are lots of places that GPs can refer to. Platform One is one, and Platform One gets a lot of referrals from the professionals, including doctors. So Platform One's just one example. But the thing is, do those things. Go and seek out those things. Just realise that the loneliness and isolation that's been caused by addiction doesn't have to continue. Go to these organisations. What you will find is other people in exactly the same situation as you. You will find it's a club of people that have had things happen to them. Things have happened in life that have left them damaged, left them scarred. But grouping together and finding people who are in a similar stage of phase of life is very, very reassuring, and also it's building connections. Other things you can do is things like getting active. So get busy, do things, create things for you to do. Go to groups, join clubs, go to the library, set routines for yourself, things to get you out of that cycle of bed, booze, bed, and oblivion. Things that will take you away from that. Take you away from the days where you just lost 2 days, 3 days, and your only companion was the booze, and you saw nobody, and then you wonder why your mental health is causing you issues. The thing that you think is helping you is not helping you. It's making it worse. So meet up with other people who are in the same place in their journey. Connect with other people. But the main thing is, you've got to realise that to beat loneliness, you have to change. It's not going to be done for you. You have to change almost everything in your life. So you think about nothing is forever, nothing is permanent. Almost everything can be changed. And what happened yesterday is done. That's history now. And so what happened yesterday, good, bad, or indifferent, we cannot change at all. The future is out there unmapped. Nobody knows what it's going to be. All we can do is hope and plan and try and make it better. What we can fix is today. So today we can do something. Today is the only thing we've got. And the thing is, I have some very, very bad news for you, because everybody dies, and that's a fact. But in the meantime, we've got every day to live. So there you go. So every day you can live. And at the end of the day, all things being equal, it won't matter. But today matters. So change things that can be changed immediately. Get some activity going. Do some exercise. Change your thinking. Change the way that you look at stuff. Just think about, does it really matter? Is that the important thing, or is it not? And what is really important? And I think there's two things that are really, really important. I'll come back to those. And I think those two things are the absolute key to loneliness. And I think it solves a lot of issues. I'll come back to that. But I'll tell you what, the loneliness is waiting for you. It's waiting for you now. So I would say fight back. Just fight back? Do the things that loneliness hates. Right, so build connections. Build connections. Link out to people. Ring people. Talk to people. Spend time talking to your neighbours if you can. Just have a conversation. Don't walk by. Just have a conversation. Stop and chat. Do something useful. So create yourself a task, a goal. So even frivolous it might be, or whatever. Significant, frivolous, it doesn't matter. The fact is that it gives you something to occupy your hands and your mind, and hopefully your soul as well. So join your interest groups. Go to church if you want. If you're that way inclined, join the church. If you're not religious, go and have a look, see what happens anyway. Go and explore your local neighbourhood. Just get out, go for a long walk, find out what's happening. People in isolation and people living with loneliness often find themselves in strange places, looking at things they haven't seen before, sometimes right under the noses. Send emails out to people, connect on the internet, dare I say, dating groups. You don't have to be alone. Thousands and thousands of people are also alone, also looking for a companion. So make a habit, go out every day. Key things, getting towards the end now. Key things. Instead of being lonely, think about doing something. What about volunteering? Why don't you give your time, a little bit of time, on a regular basis will do you the world of good. And I said it will do you the world of good. Never mind about what it does for other people, it will do you the world of good. Doing something good for other people, doing something useful, something that's needed, something that's necessary, is so cathartic. It actually lifts your spirits because you are feeling useful. You feel like you have a value, you feel like you're doing something that is dead significant. So I'd say to men over 18, think about contacting Platform One, because you're going to find guys who come to Platform One when it's properly open. This is the 15th of June 2000, and we're still a bit in lockdown, still not properly opened yet, but it will be. Join the Platform One type organisation. Go to a place where peer support is available, where guys like us can do the two things that make a difference. Then other things you can do. Follow the sport. The footy's coming back soon. Follow it. If you're not interested in it, still follow it. You know, I mean, you will be amongst friends. Thousands of people watch soccer every Saturday to see their team getting drubbed 5-0 and playing absolutely awful, but they still go. And some people don't understand the rules, and they still go. And I tell you what, it's okay. It's all right. It doesn't have to have a serious meaning. Just go. Learn new skills. Go and find out how to do new things. So, you know, learn to play a violin. Try a new language. You know, learn how to do, you know, something you haven't done before. You know, test yourself. Push yourself. Go to events. When there's events, when there's a rally, or when there's this, that, and the other, just put yourself down there. You'll find other people exactly like you who are doing exactly the same thing. Another key thing you can do is on the volunteering thing. Think about becoming a befriender. Now then, how's about this for a good one? So somebody that's isolated and lonely becomes a friender to somebody that's isolated and lonely. Whoa. It's brilliant, because two people are getting contact. Two people are actually avoiding the loneliness thing. So just think, you could do that. And the thing is that, like, people say, oh, I've no skills, I can't do that, I've no patience, I don't know how to do that, and all the rest of it, and 1,001 reasons. But I'll say to everyone that's watching this, you have got two skills, two key skills that are absolutely significant. And I promise you that if you use these two skills, then the loneliness will start to disappear. And you follow some of the things that I've said, not all of them, you don't need to, but some of them. And if you remember the two key things I'm going to say now, that's the key. The two things. People that have got no other skills, I say to them, can you laugh? And they will say, yeah, I haven't had much to laugh about recently. So, you know, that's a start. Everybody I know can laugh. And if you come down to platform 1, you will see this in action. People come in with the deepest, darkest histories you can imagine, with things going wrong all over the place. Sometimes they're in a dreadful state, physically, mentally, emotionally. Those guys come in, they register, and then we start to look at the causes of those issues. Our pastoral team will do that. The next thing that happens shouldn't happen, because people that are in desperate states should be downtrodden, and they should be miserable and depressed and all the rest of it. What happens down at platform 1 is that the guy that came in this awful state with all the troubles of the world, he goes in for a coffee and a bun, and within 5 minutes you can hear him laughing. So there he is. He has no right to laugh. He has no right to laugh at all. What he's found is he's gone and connected with a load of other guys who really don't have a lot to laugh about. But they laugh. They tell jokes. They make fun of each other in a nice, friendly way. They talk rubbish about football. They talk serious things about world politics and religion, and talk about all the affairs they never had, and places they've never been to. But it works. So that's one thing that everybody's got. The other thing is a smile. You got one, you know, use it, because when you smile, people tend to smile back. So I think that's me finished. So I'm going to finish with a smile. Thanks for listening.
Great, Bob. Thanks. Stop this.